The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Hump Day.
And it's something day. Tell you right now, it was definitely an interesting day yesterday.
Oh, yes.
And before we get into the gist of the show, I think the people might want to see this. So let's see where this goes.
Let's see this. This is part of the evil axis here.
Okay.
Oh,
Motion. No. One other individual who signed up for citizen input, CJ Ferry, 300 Buffington Street. Subject matter is recyclable.
CJ Ferry, 300 Buffington Street in Fall River. I was very happy to hear the information that was provided earlier. I had to be at a meeting downstairs. Several weeks ago, I was contacted by a few city councilors, and I started doing the research on this particular contract. So several of you had received that information via email. I have a problem right off the bat with some information that was presented just a few moments ago by the city administrator. She says it's nice that we pay $24 a ton for our recyclable, and it's nice to see that maybe there's a market out there lower. Did anyone review the addendum to the contract? The addendum to the contract clearly states disposal of all city recyclables, maximum of 40 tons a day at a cost of $46 a ton during the first 60 days. During the next 60 days, it goes to 40, and then it goes down to 30. So we're paying 46, not 24. So when we look at these numbers, let's be real. Plus there's a $750 fee for cartage. I have a problem with this company because everything I've researched on them ties both of these companies together. And Toby is in receivership in the state of Rhode Island. And when they were placed into receivership, before the court issued the final order, they came into Massachusetts and filed corporate documents in violation of Mass law because they were supposed to file as a foreign company. So we do business with companies that don't pay their bills. This is a problem. I had a long conversation today with members of DEP, and I was told very, very clearly that this administration was advised that the method that they are handling this recycling transfer station is not going to work. They are not going to get the results that they expected. I contacted a city councilor immediately after getting off the phone and let them know that, so they could verify that information. I also sent several city councilors copies of the amended permits. It's really a shame that a citizen of this city has to do this type of research on every contract that this administration goes into, or every action. It does not instill a sense of trust in any city official. It took me 2.5 hours to gather a majority of the information I had. I was on the phone with the city council when I started it. In 15 minutes, I provided the receivership records, the court records, everything. Nobody can do their research in the city of Fall River?
15 seconds.
We have a corporate counsel. Shouldn't he be doing this research? Shouldn't somebody be doing it? I have a problem. So do many other people in the city. And when DEP says this is not going to work, I have a problem.
Thank you. Mr. Ferry. Councilor in C2, Councilor Camara. Folks, please hold your applause.
Can you tell me who you spoke to at DEP?
I spoke to Mr. Dakers today.
Dinkers?
Yes.
And he told you it wasn't going to work?
He said very clearly that he had advised the city that the type of recycling program that they are running will not work. They will not get the results they're expecting. Everything is done manually. For the results he wants, they should be automated.
So is that a fact or is that his opinion?
I would say pretty much that that's probably his opinion, but it's probably pretty much a fact. Because when you look at anyone who's successful in this process, it's all automated. They have 6 men doing this recycling. It takes hours. Hours and hours. If it's automated, it goes through much faster. All you got to do is look at the city of San Francisco. Everything's automated, and they get it done. And they make money, not only on their recycling, but on their solid waste. And they've been doing it for a lot more years than we have.
Oh, I'm sure. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn? No, you can't vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn was made by Counsel Mitchell. Is there a second? Second by Counsel Ponte. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So
God, there you go again, presenting facts from the contract. Now, you know, it's nice that we saw this, and it's nice for people. Go back and look at the entire meeting and listen, because, look, I don't know how many times we are going to get the financial team and the legal team of this city in front of the council and making total misrepresentations and distortions of fact about things that are very, very important to the taxpayers in the city of Fall River. And again, we have the city administrator misrepresenting facts. And just as she did with the health care, and she was corrected then, and you're right, CJ, you know, it should not be up to you, it should not be up to the private citizens to go there and set the record straight. But if we don't do it, who will? And this is the problem. They've pulled the wool over the people's eyes, and now they're going to just have so many other issues in front of the people will forget what happened here. But I'm saying don't forget. Do not forget what happened last night. Do not forget that there was a misrepresentation of the costs. And you brought up a very good point, the $750 fee that's attached to this. They have, to my knowledge, and I haven't watched every second of these meetings, I don't think that fee was ever mentioned before.
Nothing's ever mentioned.
And so, you know, this is the thing.
problem.
It's like, you know, but it's like you or I, and we order a, you know, we enter into a contract with a guy, and he goes, oh, I'm going to charge you $24 for this. And then you get a bill for like $70,000, and you go, what the hell's going on here? Oh, well, those are transfer fees and hauling fees, and well, that's all part of the, you know, it's like when you run a business. You can't say, well, the only thing I have is my rent. You have to figure your electricity, your heat, the cost of having whatever is necessary to do your business. If it's a restaurant, you need food, you need condiments, you need things like that. So, you know, and this is the thing. And this is why we're always in the hole. This is why we never have any money. And this is why they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I think it was very, very important. As important as it was to, you know, point out that, again, they were off on their fundamental facts, which unfortunately is the norm, not the exception. But I think that $750 fee is extremely important. So it's a big nut, you know, and it's there all the time. And I think that in your research, did you come up with a company that said that their fees were $400?
Yeah, actually, several of the companies that were potentially looking to do this, their fees were in the vicinity of $400. And I confirmed those numbers with the city councilor as well, who actually had the documents. My problem is this. When you have DEP turning around and saying very clearly that they advised the city, they advised the mayor that the method that they're currently using for this program is not going to produce the results they were expecting. And these are people who pretty much know. You know, I was a little offended, I guess, by, or not me personally, but I think I'd be a little offended if I was Mr. Dakers in regards to Joe Camara's comments was, is he an expert? Well, let me see. He's the chief of solid waste for DEP. I guess he's not an expert of solid waste, huh? You know, he just does the job.
Well,
it must be like Fall River. They must hire him like Fall River. You don't need qualifications. You're hired. You know, I don't know, but what really
they only like phony experts. They don't like real experts.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the thing that insulted me more than anything else were the people who are watching this online. I read their comments. Okay, all those people who think I know it all. I'm special. I'm a zombie. And they're saying, these councils, the only 3 councils that know what they're doing is Joe Camara, Steve Camara, and Steve Long. You know what? Maybe if you took your head out of your proverbial ass, okay, and you started looking at the realities, look at things with the facts, not with your emotions, maybe you would realize that it's not a sin to ask a question. It is not a sin to verify your information. They didn't take the information I provided to them at face value. I'm sure that at least 1 or 2 of them went back and checked those documents where they came from. I don't know, the Superior Court might be difficult to find out if the document came from there, right? No, I was able to get it. I'm sure you can get it.
Well, you know, the problem with those people is, you know, and I mean, look, okay. And I'm not going to, you know, everybody has their right to their own opinion.
That's right.
Apparently, these people like communism or socialism, but they don't realize it because they feel that a city council should basically always agree with the mayor. And if they don't agree with the mayor, they should be removed. Well, they don't understand it. In this form of government, we have checks and balances. That's the reason that we have, you know, on a
Well, I know we have a lot of checks, but I don't know who they're getting written to.
well, you know, on a federal level, we have the tripartite because you've got the judicial, you've got the executive and the legislative. Down here, fundamentally, we have 2. And a city council is supposed to be a checks and balance. They're only supposed to agree with the mayor when the mayor's doing something right. If the mayor's paying almost double for hauling fees, if the mayor's paying double of what they're representing to the city councilors should have a problem with that. And, you know, Joe Camara and Steve Long and Steve Camara have basically shown that regardless of what happens, they're always with the mayor, and it's fine for them to think that they're wonderful. I personally don't believe anybody who's a rubber stamp for everything and tries to justify it. But actually, like when it comes to Steve Long, I'd really like to know, because yesterday he said, well, I talked to my constituency, and they said you did a great job speaking to the new director of DCM. And I don't know what kind of job he's doing because, you know, I mean, I'm not, you know, all that is opinion, but that's irrelevant. What is relevant is I'd like to know what constituency Councilor Long has.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too.
Because normally, if the people in the city disagree with him, he calls them idiots and they don't know what's going on. And his constituency sees Fall River as a thriving metropolis, not a place that just a couple of days ago 8 shots rang out. And, you know, is that part of our marketing campaign? Come to Fall River and duck bullets, you know, and come to a city that has double the unemployment rate and has had a 165% increase in homeless. So I would like to see Mr. Long's constituency.
Yeah.
But as I wrap it up, I'm going to tell the zombies, I'm going to read them something from one of the architects of our form of government. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. And we do fear this. You go to City Hall and people get fired if they disagree. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. Thomas Jefferson. You know, they're supposed to fear us. We're supposed to go out there and complain. And there's another very long speech from Theodore Roosevelt when he was President of the United States, basically stating, I want your criticism. If I do something wrong, it's your obligation to call me on it. And if I do something right, give me credit. If I do something wrong, come after me with the pitchforks and the torches. The President of the United States, and one of our greatest presidents, in my opinion, basically said criticism, if it's justified, is fine. You didn't criticize anybody yesterday. You just presented facts. You read from a contract, an agreement. So anybody who wants to point fingers and start making it personal like they always do, you're totally wrong. CJ, I didn't hear you say it was your opinion that it was $46.
No, it's not.
I didn't hear you say that. In my opinion, I think we're paying it. You read from the agreement. So
Signed by the mayor and approved in form and content by corporate counsel.
So rather than call up and say you should remove all the councilors that have questions, to me, those questions are totally justifiable.
Right.
If the city administrator tells me we're paying $24 a ton, and I have a contract in front of me that says we're paying $46 a ton, I should have a question. And it's my opinion, and only my opinion, that those three councilors should not receive praise. They should receive condemnation because they're not doing their damn job for the taxpayer. Why wasn't the city administrator recalled in front of the council and asked that question rather than Joe Camara question the expertise of a man who is at the top level of the Department of Environmental Protection? Why didn't he question the figures that came from the city administrator? And because he's supposed to be there to represent the taxpayers that are getting lied to.
Oh, you mean maybe call her back and get the truth?
Yeah.
And say to her, why did you lie? Oh, you can't do that. But what I thought was amazingly funny, because earlier in the finance meeting, they were talking about fueling, because the recycling company, Atlantic Waste, is using our fuel, our diesel fuel, to fuel their trucks.
Which is illegal.
We're paying for it. Oh, and John Perry says, oh, I would do that for any contractor for us, and then they can pay us back. No, you can't do that.
You can't do that. It's because we don't. You're not. The gas isn't taxed.
Right, and you're not a gas station.
And you're not a gas station. That's right, because gas stations have to give money back to the state.
That's right.
And we don't.
Okay, it's just like every one of you city employees and elected politicians who use the city gas pump to fill up your car. It's theft. It's theft.
If you do that, you get fired. I mean, if you don't fit. But you get fired. If you gas your car up at a city pump, a private vehicle, you're violating the law, and you're going to get terminated unless you're connected.
Of course.
But if you're a contractor, we've just had the head of DCM say we give free gas to everybody. Is that in a contract? Did we get like 10% off the contract for providing free gas? And I'm saying that facetiously because it's illegal. We can't make that. We can't give them that. We're not supposed to be giving them diesel. And we're not keeping any records. And who takes it on the chin? Screw you, taxpayer.
That's right. But the thing that really got me was the fact that I have been bringing up for months now on the fact that we do not have an accurate record of fuel usage.
We don't have an accurate record
and there's
of
no way to
anything.
cover it. There's no record for it. So a city councilor asked, is there 2 keys? Well, yes, there are 2 keys for DCM. So when the key is put in, you know which key it is. Oh, yes, it generates a code. Not the key in code, the code. All right, so we know who's using the gas. You know what I mean? It's like, this is a little ridiculous. But the thing that really got me was, as you know, open meeting laws are like the city council's favorite thing in the whole world. And a city councilor, and I didn't really hear it, I heard it off in the distance type of deal, laughed at the people who filed these. You're going to laugh at your constituents who are holding your feet to the fire, who are making you follow the law. Imagine that. A citizen has got to make you follow the law. because our police department isn't funded enough to have enough police officers to do their job. So we got to cut corners there by having people file their break-in reports and their car accidents and all this online, because we can't dispatch a police officer to check into it. And it's a minor crime. And, you know, we're needed for major crimes. No, we are needed for major crimes. But I can remember the days where your house got broken into, you had a police officer present.
Yeah, and you're right. The police are there, and, you know, obviously they have to prioritize, and major crimes are. And we have a lot of, that's a concession to the fact that, for something that they never want to admit, that this city is loaded with crime.
Right.
And it is. But the fact is that, you know, unfortunately, having your house broken into or something like that is a major crime to the person. It's very traumatic to some people to know that some stranger was in their house rifling through everything, and
Exactly.
will they come back or any, you know. And it's so, I mean, you know, you're right. In the old days when a police officer came into the house and you know, and sat there, it helped to basically really calm the individual down, and they knew that you know, the police were there, and they would, you know, they would talk to them. And I think it went a long way. But as you said, it's more important to give out stipends to your press secretaries and to waste money as we're doing now, paying millions and millions of dollars to this company, paying $750 for a fee that we could get from any other company for $400, because nobody cares. It's not their money. And now we're giving them free diesel fuel.
The thing that got me, though, the thing that got me was John Perry's comment. They said, "Do you think this program is working?" He didn't say yes. He didn't say, "Oh yes, we're saving money." I'm optimistically hopeful. That gives you a lot of sense of, you know, this is going to be successful.
Well, that's a double positive, not a double negative.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm optimistically hopeful.
But I think the biggest insult to injury last night was the babysitting ordinance. It is
Very
already
appropriate name.
It's already in the charter that if the mayor is absent, the city council president will assume his duties. And if that is a permanent absence, the city council president will serve until the next available election, if it is greater than 90 days. Why do we have to? We have to create an ordinance to get the mayor to show, and I'm going to put it down and say it the way the council president said it, professional courtesy. Professional courtesy.
Yeah, but remember what the you know, the mayor's shills said. Joe Camara said, "Well, we never did that when I was the president." Well, maybe you should have demanded it.
No, but the funny thing was that, and city council president said it very clearly. He goes, when Will Flanagan was mayor, he didn't leave. He didn't take a vacation. And when he did, the city council president was notified. I'm going to be in D.C. for 2 days, or I'm going to be here. So what was the problem? And of course, the shills, I wasn't notified. Well, maybe you weren't the city council president at the time. You know,
Yeah, but you know, but see, that's the whole thing. You know, two wrongs don't make a right. You don't ignore a law. It's in the charter. So you know, when I look at this, it says to me two things. One, that our legislative body, our lawmakers, not our executive branch, don't care about the law.
right.
They don't care about the charter. So the three wise men, obviously, you know, don't realize that they're supposed to be lawmakers. So they're just saying, well, if the law doesn't suit us, screw it. We're going to let our people run the city when he's gone. Well, then it gets me to part two. I have said continuously, since the first city administrator, I have been opposed to that position in the city of Fall River unless we change the charter. We should not have a mayor making over $100,000 to be the mayor of the city of Fall River and then relieve him of all his duties. We have a city administrator to administer the city. We have a financial team to oversee the finances. We have six-figure department heads to run every single department. So now, he's like the Queen of England. All he does is cut ribbons and run for re-election and make speeches, because he's a ceremonial mayor. when you have a city administrator? Why not call him a city manager, like they do in Worcester, and give him a small stipend to be a ceremonial mayor? That's the problem I have. Waste of taxpayers' money, enlarged government, and as I've said hundreds of times on this show, when Carlton Viveris was mayor, and he's the one who actually created the city administrator's position, and that first city administrator was a friend of ours, Alan Silva. Very good, very smart guy, Harvard MBA.
Knows his numbers.
Knows his numbers. Guy was a great city administrator. However, when you get a city administrator that's fundamentally managing the city on a day-to-day basis, and then you have a CFO now, Mary Sahadi, and an auditor, and a treasurer, and assistants to the assistants to the assistants. What's left for the mayor to do? Oh, I make policy, I direct the city. Horse shit. I'm sorry. That's not gonna, that doesn't cut it. That relieves the mayor to do nothing but politic and be like the Queen of England, ceremonial. This city, he went to Florida, nobody knew he was gone. So obviously, he doesn't have to worry about the day-to-day workings and answering the questions. The only question he has to answer is, this guy's looking for a job. Has he contributed, and do we know him? That's his primary function. And, Joe Kamara could say, I don't understand it, we don't need to do it. Maybe you're right, Joe. Maybe I might have to agree with you. Maybe even though it's in the charter and we're violating the law and you're a lawmaker, and I would assume by your oath you pledge to obey the city charter and all the laws of the Commonwealth and the city of Fall River, that you say, let's ignore this law because you know something, it's irrelevant. Because we really don't need the mayor unless we're looking for a job for somebody in our family. So that's about what I got to say on that one, because it's pretty obvious by that very appropriately named clause, right? The babysitting clause.
That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah. So, you named it. Okay. But I mean, it's in the charter. It's supposed to be done, and it's something that's not outrageous. By the way, when I got on the Fall River Fire Department back in the era of the dinosaurs, one of the first things I had to change in negotiations was every single firefighter in the city of Fall River actually had to get permission to leave the city, and they had to log out in a book. If you left the city of Fall River for more than 3 hours or 4 hours, you had to log out, you had to get permission. And if you went away for a weekend, unless you're on vacation, you had to get permission. And they didn't allow everybody to leave because you were supposed to be subject to recall. We eliminated that because now people have cars, they live out of town and stuff like this. And it was really, if they wanted us to be on call, they were, people were getting paid for being on call. So that was eliminated. But the fact is that we had an ample number of men. And, if the mayor's required by ordinance to inform the next person in line to run the government, he either has to do so or admit that he's a ceremonial mayor.
Well, again, it's Romper Room all over again. Romper, bumper, stomper, boo. Tell me who. Magic mirror. Tell me today. Have all the boobs had fun at play.
Stay angry and watch where you step. The Clydesdales are running through the streets of Fall River.
That's it. Hey, have a great day. We'll see you Friday.